Hey, and I'm back with a nice cup of mint tea to help soothe my throat after all that. And I think Duke really did a number on it there. Anyway, hopefully it's not an issue. He doesn't come up much. There's no way. There's no way. Cameron shakes his head back and forth, unwilling to believe that Dev, his boyfriend, the person he loves the most, would do this to him. But why? Devin is the one that wants to leave, that wants to protect him from this nightmarish town. How would this help at all, making all the ghosts up? Devin truly wants to understand what's happened to Lapita, where she is. Nowhere. So he'd want Cameron's visions to be true. Unless it's both? Couldn't have involved he couldn't have been involved in the vision he had by the lake, right? Or what he heard in the forest. Those were real. Cameron feels it deep down. They had to have been real. He could have made up that recounting of the forest creature, of the girl being murdered. Maybe Devin was worried Cameron would give up if he didn't see anything and wanted to make sure by hanging himself in the closet, by creating one of the worst moments in Cameron's life. Devin would never do that, would never think to do that. As he's thinking this, something flickers in Cameron's vision. It's hard to describe, but there's a vividness to what he's seeing. And then the lighting begins to change, just like it did next to the lake. The coyote stops, rigid and apprehensive, not really interested in having visions at this moment. He doesn't have any say in the matter, though. This time, the lighting takes on such a surreal, ominous blood red glow that even though Cameron thought he was prepared, he definitely isn't. He stands in the unnatural light, feeling a bit sick, but then realizes he's actually someone else. Just like when he saw the girl's life end. But he seems to snap into his host and looks down at the body of a creature he can't quite make out. This person he's become breathes heavily, doubled over, his giant paws on his knees, feeling sick. He'd never killed someone before. This little fag deserved it at least. He spits on the body, then suddenly realizes he needs to get rid of it. As far as he knows, no one knows that he's here, all the way from Peyton. If he can get rid of the body, no one will ever know he did it. He prepares himself, finding it easier and easier to come to terms with the murder. The thrill he got from it, the swooping feeling in his chest that immediately made his dick get hard. It's a bit worrying, even to him. With a deep breath, he leans down, but then suddenly feels like he's being watched. Slowly, he looks up. It hovers over the road, watching him. He'd seen a handful of UFOs, all of them while he was in Echo. He'd come to realize that it wasn't aliens or whatever the fuck people believed in. It was supernatural or something, like a ghost. He suddenly thinks back to last week when the space shuttle blew up while his class watched it on TV. He'd be the only one to laugh when it happened. Not really because it was funny, but because it was so unexpected and so boring up until that point. To him, that's the only way space could be haunted with ghosts. But for some reason, he doesn't think anything living, or at least anything that was living, is involved with this. What he realized is that those crafts, made of metal, glass, and covered in lights, are empty. As far as he's concerned, they're no different from the ghosts. Ghosts that weren't people at all. They're hollow shells, only there to feed on the sick feeling he got when seeing them. Only there to watch him so that the small amount of guilt he had might grow just a little bit bigger. And tonight, aliens would visit him, to torture him, to violate him. Not really aliens, but the same thing as the ghosts that people see in this town. It's all the same. So he ignores it as he gets to work, and it hovers over his head, even as he feels its red eyes on the back of his neck. Cameron isn't sure what to think right now. UFO? What? While the shadow creature in the forest had been strange, he hadn't seen it. He only heard someone recounting it. Cameron assumed that man in his vision wasn't in his right mind, maybe misinterpreted what he was experiencing. This full-blown craft in the sky above a dead body. Now Cameron is almost positive he's being toyed with, like Raincoat Monster in the motel room. It just makes him feel like he's going crazy, and it reminds him that for some inexplicable reason he thought Dev might be in on it. How did he even consider that Dev could be involved with this? Besides, even now, despite it being almost completely silent aside for the crunch of his footsteps on the gravel road, the voices are insistent, even louder, and how would he hide speakers out here in the middle of nowhere? Now that he's focusing on those voices, he can actually start to make out some words, sentence fragments. Singing, they sang. Sins of cities are always. You piece of shit. Stop doing. Every time he catches a new voice, it fades away before it finishes what it's saying. Cameron stops so he can hear better, ears up. But the voices fade back to barely noticeable whispers on the wind. Cameron remembers those ghost hunting shows he'd watched a few times, the way they're always trying to communicate. So he clears his throat awkwardly. Hello? Are you trying to talk to me? Do you have something you'd like to say? Cameron isn't even sure he should be saying you because the voices are such a mixture of many. But why would they all congregate on this one dirt road? Either way, they seem to have moved on, so Cameron starts walking again. It's something we should see. You think you're special, stupid shit. Again, Cameron stops, and so do the voices. Hello? Silence. Words don't even really make sense. The ghosts are trying to talk to him. Wouldn't they say something useful? Maybe they just don't like him. If it's a replaying of something in the past, why are they just babbling nonsense? Cameron sighs and takes a step. You stupid. Coyote freezes, suddenly making a connection. He looks down at his foot, then brushes it back and forth over the gravel. Stupid sack of shit. Cameron stares. It's coming from the gravel, from the sound of it anyway. Gentle wind tickles over the fur in his ears and the whispers continue. Suddenly, he's back in his trailer with his mother. He's lying back on the couch, nodding out after snorting his pills. His mother on the other side of the trailer is kneeling amongst the debris of markers for arch shapes. She'd always been meticulously clean, emphasizing that while they might live in a trailer, they can still make it look nice. But over the past year, she'd seemed to care less and less now, and now dishes were used and never cleaned. Boxes of takeout opened and left where they were eaten. Cameron himself couldn't be bothered to tidy up. It's easier now that his mom doesn't give a fuck. He can do his drugs right in front of her now. Post-it notes and strips of fabric tied to every arch his mother spotted, even to things Cameron is pretty sure aren't arches, made the place look like a disaster anyway. It does bother him though, as he watches her through half-lidded eyes, is the way she looks. Her fur is disheveled and sticking up in different places, and she's in the same clothes she's been in for over a week. She started to have a strange odor about her, but Cameron felt too weird telling his own mother she smelled bad. It's sad. He almost wished she'd scream at him and slap him like she did whenever she found his drugs. Almost. Because right now he feels so good. She seems happy enough to listen to that fan. Cameron covers his muzzle, heart pounding, listening to the whispering wind. No. No. His eyes blur with tears. He turns around because he's worried someone might be watching him and his feet scrape the gravel. Sadness seems to always. Cameron covers his ears, feeling the now familiar rising tide of panic in his chest. He's going crazy. Just like his mother, he's losing his mind. But his mother changed over the course of months. This is so sudden. He's never heard voices before. Or has he? That hallucination he'd had of Devon hanging, that was a voice. But that could have been a dream, too. Now Cameron's breathing is really starting to get out of control, and he wants to run back to Devon and apologize just so they can hold each other again. Of course Devon wouldn't fuck with him over this. Cameron can't understand why he thought that. It seemed like a possibility just 5 minutes ago. But something holds him from running back right now, and that's because if he's crazy. He's crazy, he doesn't want Dev to see it. Sure, he had a few nervous breakdowns and panic attacks in the first few years of their relationship, but that's normal crazy. This is actually crazy. It's psychotic. And while Dev would hold him, comfort him, take him away from this place, who's to say what would happen after that? Behind his outgoing nature and warm smile, Dev would be doubting their relationship. He already is. He'd be worn down by Cameron's deteriorating mental state, his deteriorating hygiene, deterioration of the man he once knew as the spiral into delusion deepens. Stop it. Stop. I'm not Mom. No, but you're her son. That voice, the one that comes from inside his head. The one that doesn't feel like his inner voice. The one that won't shut the fuck up. Cameron is walking back the way he came. Back toward Devon. Toward what he knows is real and safe. But is he? Yes. Even though he's scared, he says it confidently. And strangely enough, he feels what seems like a pause on the other voice's end. Like it's not quite sure how to respond. Good. Cameron thinks, this time with his own thoughts. He makes sure to walk to the side of the road, the dusty, somewhat rocky surface preferable to the whispering gravel. Devon keeps trying to figure out how things could have gone so wrong. His feelings earlier about an impending catastrophic failure now feel fully validated. It's happened. He took those courses emphasizing engineering ethics. He studied cases in which every step of a disaster was detailed and exactly how each step was preventable. He took great care in his career to make sure he would never become one of those case studies. The machines he helped design were as safe as possible. And while he already thought this, it's the fact he didn't even know Cameron was on an antipsychotic at some point. Just that he was on meds. He knew Cameron's problems were concerning, and he reassured himself with a crash course in abnormal psychology. Psychology. He's never as openly disdainful as his peers. The idea of trying to explain complex behavior through endless theories was frustrating, to say the least. He chalked it up to him being one of those people who simply needed a solid answer, a number. But he also remembers those months when Cameron was on his medication, and one night he'd had Dev sit with him in the arts building on campus. It was late and no one was around as Cameron almost angrily bashed on the keys of the grand piano, asking him if any of it sounded good. Dev said it sounded fine. Then the coyote finally broke down, saying he couldn't write music anymore. That emotionally things had become black and white. There was a wall between him and who he was. The medicine he was taking was the reason why he fucked up the chance with the label. And as Cameron sobbed over the piano, Devin had decided that psychology doesn't know a thing about how people work. That psychiatrists might as well be drug dealers with an office. And the same for his mother after what happened to Lupita. Even now, she struggles with her addiction to benzodiazepines. Something carelessly prescribed to her so she'd stop wailing all the time. To Devin, it seemed like psychology never moved past lobotomies. Instead, they just converted into pills. And he never really changed that mindset. That's why he never encouraged Cameron to seek some sort of help, especially if he didn't want it. What he took away from his research is that hallucinations of any kind are of serious concern and should never be brushed off. But he had done just that, with the idea that maybe there's more to hallucinations for some people than psychology will ever understand. Maybe it's ghosts. Devin wants to hit himself. In fact, he wishes the Weasel Man had added a kick in the nuts to go with the gut punch. Something else to help remind him how utterly stupid he is. The concept of the paranormal is so far from his mind at this point that he doubts he'll ever dabble in it again. See? There he is, dude! Devin looks up and sure enough, he sees Cameron running toward them. The smile of relief on the coyote's face seems to break the dam of emotion in Dev's chest. That wild look he'd had earlier, the one that had looked at him as if he was a stranger, is gone. And the next thing he knows, he's running too. He wonders why Cameron is running on the rough rocks and thorny vegetation, but Devin joins him and Cameron runs into his chest with a thump. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell I was... Stop. You're fine. That's all I care about. You're fine. But I don't know if I am. You are. You're here and you're fine. And we're gonna go home, okay? Yeah. Careful. Devin, rocking them back and forth on the uneven, rocky ground, sends them to the dirt, but Devin just pulls Cameron into his lap, still hugging him tightly. Meanwhile, Artie is looking away, seeming to have spotted something very interesting in the miniature forest off the road, though he's smiling. I'm so sorry for bringing you here. I don't know what else to say. I'm just sorry. No, it's my fault for thinking I was special. That I had superpowers or something. None of this is your fault, okay? Cameron stays quiet and Devin is content to just hold the coyote, both of them sniffling. Meanwhile, the coyote plucks at sagebrush that's rubbing up against them, which he holds to his nose. You know how I hate the desert? Devin tries to adjust to the jarring shift in conversation, but goes along with it, assuming Cameron just wants to focus on other things for now. I'm starting to hate it too, actually. Cameron inhales the sprig of sagebrush in his paw again. Well, I love the smell of sagebrush. The way the whole desert smells like it. I suppose it's alright. There's something about it that reminds me of Christmas. It's weird from someone who grew up surrounded by pine forests. Like when we went up to my dad's cabin. Now that's a smell I can get behind. I guess I got too used to it, and sagebrush is just different. The desert version of pine forests. Pines can grow in the desert. And I mean the ones in the northwest. We should go to your dad's cabin again. That was fun. Oh, really? I thought you didn't like it. In all honesty, Dev hadn't either. He had meant to take Cameron ice fishing like his father had taken him so many times. The second they got there, though, he realized how woefully underprepared he was. I complain too much. We should go in summer so we don't have to dig through 4 feet of snow just to open the cabin. Dev almost laughs at the memory, being so exhausted by the time he opened the cabin that his plans to romantically make love to Cameron went out the window the second they got in bed. Yeah, I'll ask my dad about it when we get back. Just want to be somewhere with you, away from this. Yeah, far away from this. Dev, I don't think I'm actually psychic. I hallucinated a UFO a little bit ago. That's not real. Oh, but you just saw one? Well, in my mind I was someone else. I saw a dead body and I saw a spacecraft in the sky. It didn't make sense. I see. Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore once we're out of here. I really, really hope we won't. Dev isn't going to ask him to elaborate. Tell him that UFOs are commonly reported in Echo, especially in times when supernatural activity is at its peak. While he wants to convince Cameron he isn't mentally ill, he knows that's not what he should be doing right now. Even though he wants to deny it, he doesn't know if it's true or not. He believes Cameron is psychic, but that's taken a back seat to the possibility that something else is happening too. And Dev can't be the one to figure that out for Cameron. He can only be there to support him. Oh shit! I think Artie's in the forest. Eh? Sure enough, Artie's disappeared. Oh, yeah, well, he'll be alright. We'll just call for him, not really a big forest anyway. Dev, that's where the shotgun guy is. Oh, fuck, I forgot. Dev stares at the tree line hopefully. Dev, we have to get him. Well, he shouldn't be far in at all. Anyway, we can warn him real quick, but let's keep our voices down. They get up and move towards the forest. Dev wants to tell Cameron to wait on the road, but at the same time, he's worried about losing him again right after finding him. Somehow, this seemingly innocuous patch of trees is even more ominous during the day. Artie? Dev whispers loudly into the trees, holding Cameron's paw as they descend into the ditch and over onto the forest side. They only take a few steps into the trees before Artie calls back. Yo, just taking a whiz. Figured you guys didn't want me staring. Dude, shut up. Dev continues to shout whisper. What's up? Devin can see movement from Artie now, some of the bushes about 10 feet ahead of them shifting. This is where that shotgun hick yelled at us. Oh, well, I'm almost done anyway. Dev sighs, then notices Cameron with his ears low, looking anxious. You alright, baby? Do you hear, like, radio static? It's really loud. Dev listens, but only hears some wind through the trees. I think it's just the leaves, honey. But then there is something. Maybe what could be described as static? Actually... Jesus! Jumps as his phone notification sound goes off. Well, I definitely heard that. I do think it's just the wind, but I'm hearing it too. He takes his phone out, seeing that an email managed to get through. Important booking information. Due to the ongoing public health emergency, all reservations have been cancelled. We sincerely apologize. Notification banner cuts off there, and the surreal message makes Devin feel like they're isolated from the world now more than ever. He wonders if he should try to call the police, even though he still only has one bar. At this point, he'd be willing to just let the authorities know that they're stranded, but before anything else can happen. Then something out of the corner of his eye catches his attention. It looks like the wall of a structure of some kind, beige and peeling. Hard to see through all the leaves and branches. Devin holds up his paw in front of Cameron, signaling him to stay put before taking a few cautious steps further into the forest. He thinks it's a trailer, one that looks so run down that he wouldn't be surprised if it's abandoned. What unsettles him is that it's buried so deep behind the trees, it's like it's meant to be hidden. He can try and make a call further down the road, away from whatever that is. I'm here. No need to check on me. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna try and make a call on the road, but we're going straight. The look on Artie's face makes the bear pause. What? What the fuck? His voice is quiet, but his tone is one of confusion and shock, staring over Dev's shoulder. Devin feels dread creep over him, not sure how something else could be happening right now, but something so terrible that Artie has that look. Cameron stands where he left him. Oddly enough, he doesn't even seem to be paying attention to them. He's staring up, towards the trees, and Devin can see his eyes darting from left to right. His ears are lying back and twitching like he's hearing something that's too loud. His breathing is heavy, and Devin can see his chest heaving. He's panicking again, but the reason for it is clear. About a single second is all Dev has to see it, and to hear it. And then it drops onto Cameron. That's a good stopping point. Not quite 30 minutes, but good, very clear scene end. So I'll take it. If anybody's watching this because I posted it somewhere, thank you for watching. Yay.